Well, Julie, one of the things you taught your class year after year was critical thinking, where it's a term that's almost being used as a derogatory term for anyone that questions authority or questions the narrative. What is critical thinking in your definition?
Very good question. I mean, I think there are a lot of factors that go into the negative perspective of that now. I mean, I've heard the strangest comments about what we mean by science and falsification now. And we do have this idea, I think, that our almost our human religion now is science. And I'm going to put that in quotation marks because we now think of science as a perfect system, as not needing questioning or dissension or revisability. And that's not what we've seen science to be in the past, right? Science operates on this idea of falsifiability and innovation and question asking and the possibility of error and mistake and creativity. And creativity requires an open stance that allows for mistake, right? I think there's an assumption, a presumption, a requirement that in order to be capable of critical thought, you have to be capable of independent thought, right? You have to be able to step back from what other people believe, what you're being told to believe or told to do, and evaluate that as a source of information, but not as determining information or determining directives, right? So if someone says to you, I think you should eat 10 oranges a day. That's going to be the best for your health. Well, a critical thinker does not say, oh, I'm going to eat 10 oranges a day because someone told me to. A critical thinker says, well, that's an interesting piece of information. Let me think about that a little bit. Let me try to do some research. Let me talk to some people who might know. Let me try it out and then evaluate the results. And so there's this presumption or requirement of autonomy and self reliance and self-directedness that critical thinking requires. And so I think the reason we're seeing critical thinking disparaged so much right now is because we're seeing autonomy and independent thought disparaged. We do not have a society, whether we're talking about inside academia or in our culture more broadly, we do not have a narrative from our government that supports autonomy at all. We have a government that wants basically to write all the concept of informed consent, which is the idea of autonomous, self-directed medical decision making, who wants to write that out of jurisprudence, out of our laws, out of our biomedical ethical codes. You would not know that even exists in Canada anymore. So critical thought, I mean, for people who are watching, critical thought is free thought. It's feeling free to develop your own ways of thinking. And that doesn't mean that that still allows for the fact that some conclusions are more supported than others. Some lines of thought are more interesting or more rich or closer to the truth than others. I'm not advocating for a kind of relativism, but I think we have to allow people to think for themselves if we're to have a chance of getting closer to the truth. Anytime in history when we have tried to squash individual thought, it has not turned out well for us. I don't know why we're trying it again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even John Stuart Mill, who is one of the fathers of utilitarianism, and utilitarianism is thought to be sort of the dominant ethical ethos or code right now. This idea that our sole goal as a moral agent is to produce good for the collective, right? And even he talked about the harms of limiting individual free expression, because when you do that, you not only do you close off the possibility that you might hear the truth from someone, but you close off the possibility that you might hear error, which helps in a variety of ways. That can help to solidify your own beliefs. It can help to, we need the full spectrum of opinions and a kind of rigor in our homes, in our education systems, in society at large, in order for us to, I think, as a human species, a group of humans, to progress towards truth rather than just repeat the same mistakes over and over again.